politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. We told you the incompetence of the PNM knows no bounds. That after 6 months with dry season, the stupidity of the PNM shone through. I told you all, as soon as rain start, expect flooding one time. Don't even wait to see the full set of rain, and if it come back to back, then the saturation and so on and clogging. As soon as it rain, Rohan and his new sidekick that he don't like, Richie Sukai, watch what's going on. This is not an act of God. This is not abnormal rainfall. This is just wet season start. And look at what people have to go through. Michelle Benjamin in Murga table and out with tractor pulling. She trying to save people and get food out for them and so on. The whole of the South. Look, Archie was now telling me, down right here where we are in Atlantic Studios in Marbella, it used to flood right through. Anytime it rained a little bit over 30-40 minutes, flood all in the main road. But when Kamla Prasad Bisesa came in and Jack Warner and Suraj Ratan Rambachan, Ministry of Works and Transport, they did, and the Minister of Local Government, member for Faizabad, Chandresh Sharma, they did box drain, they did work, they cleared drainage, they cleared the river mouth, and then they dredged the Vista Bella river mouth, dig it out so the water could flow out. You all saw any during the dry season? Did you see any barges with huge excavators in the river mouth? No, because PNM do not care. Rowley will not come and take a photo up. He will go and take a photo up with businessmen and CEOs. He will go and take a photo up in $80 million spending on a Hazy Crawford Stadium for 7 sports in a Commonwealth Youth Games that we athletes going to get licks because Shamfa and them didn't put no money in investing in the coaches, the coach education, athlete preparation, athlete competition, boxers begging for money. But they refurbishing about 80 million spent. Look at that. When Munilal and the UNC and Dave Tanku asked them in the Standing Finance Committee, what is that 1 million you put for dredging rivers and flooding? With their arrogance, they said, we have it under control. Well, they're in your face. All you're ready to vote, all you feel elections is a joke. Look at this madness, and them don't care. And the rain now start. Understand what I'm saying? You all don't understand the pain of people when their house flood out. With a set of tutu water, nastiness, and everything they have. And they had to work, and then those who have to go to work can't go to work. You all don't understand the pain of people, you know. That is not right. And that has nothing to do with God and rain and it must flood. That is strictly PNM incompetence, stupidity, heartlessness, and a set of dunce ministers in a cabinet led by the biggest bald-head dunce. And Rowley, for this whole show, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Nasty Man, you stand up in Parliament and telling Kamla about she writing to different people and nasty in a Trinidad and Tobago name? Keith Christopher Rowley, answer this question. When they go by you, when your ladies and them come by you to the slaughter room, do they have to go down some steps, pass 3 dogs on the right, go down a little way, pass a parrot, then get into the dungeon office where there is a bright red couch that you act on? And Keith Christopher Rowley, Donna Cox, you know about that red couch? Any of y'all others know about that red couch? Any reporters know about that red couch? Anybody know about that past 3 dog? 1 parrot into the office on the red couch. Rowley has been over asking you. You see, when your girl and them talk, Rowley, they fed up. Even your ex-girl and them fed up of you. The whole country hate you. They never hated Patrick Manning. Patrick Manning had staritis. His management style wasn't there. He was letting fellas get away with murder. So people vote he out. But nobody ever hated Patrick Manning. Keith Rowley, the people hate you. No joke. I'm not talking about just one kind of people, you know, not Indian and UNC and African UNC and opposition, you know. Rowley, the country hates you, boy. Do you understand? That's why you could hide, you could push the election after Privy Council that have forced you to call it quite down to the 14th. The catastrophe that you are going to get is real because the hatred, you have become unmasked. That's why I tell you, I know that when they come by you, you're sicko. They walk down past 3 dogs. If you want, I could tell you the type of dog it was too. A parrot and onto a red couch by you. You're a sick fool. Come out the people office. Move him. Stephen Ames claims a one-shot win, winning the Principal Charity Classic. The boss of bosses still doing it and making Trinidad and Tobago proud. Yes, Canada too, all right. I know they like negativity, eh? But bigger him up. From he used to practice and learn to play right there in Point-a-Pierre when the refinery was open. If he was born now, he had no chance to make it because PNM shut down Petrotrin, shut down the Point-a-Pierre, shut down. Well, the golf club's still open, but it's not as accessible as before. Well, as we talk about accessible, I tell you the PNM put a man called, what his name? The Guardian Life man. He used to be in hockey. I forget his name. He's so incompetent. Imagine he was a former president of the TTOC and he cannot even build or make or keep a AstroTurf in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago for hockey players to practice. He paid 3.5 million back in 2018, 2019 for a hockey turf. They put it on bad. The thing mash up, not a hockey ball roll on it yet. Gary Griffith gone and built one by the barracks there. So the hockey fraternity say, thank the Lord, we could practice a little bit and so on. But look what the PNMers do. Because earlier, unfortunately, you is a PNM. Because the PNM cabinet appointed you for another year. They approve you and you are attacking Kamala and spewing PNM nonsense. So earlier Tea Party lady, you is a PNM. Hear what the PNM do. They lock Archie, they lock hockey out of the one place. Douglas Camacho, that's the clown's name, that incompetent dotish fool called Douglas Camacho who thinks he knows so much about sport. That's why Douglas Camacho, you're a PNM, but all the projects at the sport company is supposed to do, all the stadia, the refurbishment, the construction, the recreation ground maintenance, every single dollar is taken away from you, Douglas Camacho. But you still like to be chairman of the sport company. Chairman of what? Chairman of nothing? Because it's Udicott, Rowley and his boy Noel Garcia taking a full bag of sporting money to do all the project. Stadium down in Diego Martin in Bagatelle, Skinner's Park, come down to here's the Crawford Stadium refurbishment, sporting grounds, everything for Noel Garcia, Douglas, Dotish, Camacho. But Archie, run it. If all you notice, I kind of vexed because I see people flood out. And when that happens, let me tell you, all the media like to pretend like it's something. It's not. It is pure PNM incompetence. Rowley and his bunch of goats. All you have to take the rope and pull them out of cabinet and tie the rope where it's flooding. Run that, Archie. Yes. There no audio, but this is a beautiful AstroTurf. Imagine our Commissioner of Police, Gary Griffith, could put on that in a short tenure, whether 3-4 years or whatever. Right? For children, for adults, for national players to perform and play. And just so, all of these national players, club players come in to play tournament and practice. And they get locked out of an AstroTurf. All your PNM could tell me why that happened. Ola, why is that? You didn't lock out people for Tea Party when you dress up in your little blue gown And earlier, but you're locking out our sportsmen and women who working hard to try and represent the country. They have World Cup qualifying, they have Pan Am Games, they have indoor coming, they have all sorts of things. This whole country is rotten to the core with this thing, this disease called PNM. As I talk about disease, the Honorable Claude Noel, world champion, passed away. You know, not a PNM minister, not a state funeral, not a cent for Claude Noel from the People's National Movement. It's a black man, a poor black man from Tobago. The Prime Minister, Keith Rowley, is the second Prime Minister from Tobago, the first being Anil Robinson. Okay, Wayne Frederick, you Howard University bastion of intelligence and integrity. No send-off other than the loved ones and small family for a national hero, a national icon who put his life on the line, because boxing is a deadly sport. It's a sweet science, but you put yourself in the line in danger, because world championship boxers with speed, with power, with technique, the kind of forces they hit you with, it is remarkable. So he literally put his life on the line for Trinidad and Tobago. No Shamfa, no Foster Venture Credit Union, 4.4 million, 1.8 million account, no Foster, no Gatsby Dolly with she new set of bundles, nothing for Claude Noel. Now, if I have to explain to y'all how heartless, how disrespectful, how unpatriotic these PNM clowns are, then y'all need help. That is a world champion. Took on the world and beat them. Red, black, and white, flying, national anthem. But all of them, if it have Jazz Fest or something in Tobago, they go drive on the highway though. This one will drive on the highway with she Gucci and she Prada. And she think now, because she say all you must sacrifice. So Claude Noel and family and the country must sacrifice, because these people do not care. Imagine that. Anyway, go and rest in peace, my brother. We appreciate what you did for this country, putting us up on the map. Boxing team, the Guardian, this the Express writer editorial, it to honor Claude Noel. You have to have boxing and so on, and get the youths involved, not knowing that under Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Boxo Potts and the then boxing board under the People's Partnership, that was done. And this gentleman was one of many coaches across Trinidad and Tobago, identifying talent, sharing, getting into the communities to get the talent out, channeling vexation into positivity, sport, fitness, health, and opportunities for Olympic glory moving forward, and then into professional. That was there. The PNM came in, and it had no recusal in that. It had no rental contract in that. It have no 80 million in that. That is about people. The PNM is not about people. So they crushed it. So the Express writes an editorial as if they don't know anything. They don't exist in Trinidad and Tobago, or they don't care to remind people of what existed under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. They come and say, well, to honor Claude Noel now, you must pull back what Kamla did. But they never say that Kamla did it. That's the mass media you have. But now they're talking. Boxing team waits on money for Guatemala camp. It's a waiting game for the TNT boxing team of Nigel Paul, Olympian, Aaron Prince, Olympian and Commonwealth, Donnell Phillips, Anthony Joseph, Ortega Joku, Jeremiah Thomas, and Tiana Guy, world-ranked amateur Tiana Guy, who's bringing glory to Trinidad and Tobago in female boxing. To go into a living camp, she just had to go somewhere in Spain and pay your own money to fight. Shamfa come and pretend they dip out a check and take picture. Actually, if I used to take picture, when the ministry used to give out check, I would have take picture. If I stay awake 18 hours per day, I would have had to take picture for 19 hours, if that was important. And she didn't even let it picture, right? Looking kind of, not looking like this, the change. I don't know how. I don't know at that age how things have just changed. So me, I don't know. They have no money. The 7-member team is awaiting word from the Olympic Committee regarding funding for the camp. The Olympic Committee, PNM, gets money from the PNM, no money for the athletes, but whoa! Hey man, we got Hazy Crawford Stadium, it got some concrete going up, we got some steel work, oh, they do some box drains, and Calco was paving, man, $80 million. We are great in sport. We're painting the stadium. Never mind, we don't care about the athletes that got to perform in the stadium, but the damn stadium, it gonna look good. Best you put a Gucci belt around the whole stadium and put PNM next to Gucci. As we talk, that leaves you, Archie, one full page color in a newspaper is approximately $15,000 to $20,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. An 8-page full color printout paid for by this clown, the Minister of Sport. Okay? 8 pages. At 20,000 per page is how much? $160,000. If it's 15,000, well. But they have no money for athletes. They have no money for boxing camp. Parents have to dip in their pocket to go on national swim team and national water polo and archery and shooting and drag racing and hockey and rugby and football. They have to dip in their pockets for the children to go, and some have to cancel going. But the PNM spent $160,000 in one newspaper to place this full page, 8-page thing to talk about empower. You know what is empower? Empower is they get some people who they say have achieved in their life, okay, to go from one area to next area once a month or so for about 3-4 hours to talk. No, I'm not joking, They are trying to espouse, this is their crime fighting initiative. So, let's say Olympic coach, right? World record holder coach, world championship medalist coach, 4 Olympic games, double Pan Am gold coach, 18 gold medal in CAC coach. Okay, so I go to some youths and talk to them for 2, 3, 4 hours. What is that really going to do? I might motivate them, I could talk well, I could boost them for a little bit. What actual impact and effect is that going to have on the crime situation? First and foremost, Shamfa Kujo, with your big pullout, how many active criminals you think are going to go to some fancy simi-dimi thing with fancy logo and air condition and man talking here? How many active criminals who are gun-toting bandits, wielding their influence and their power throughout Trinidad and Tobago during the day and the night? How many active criminals, killers, bandits, home invaders you think going to #1 radio Empower, or you hear, listen to the radio and say, hey, Empower, let me go get a motivational speech, man. Somebody's got to, y'all just got to talk to me. Talk to me, man. I'm about to kill some people, steal their car, shoot them in a bar, kill them, murder them, go in their house. But no, Shem forgot the Empower thing. They're going to talk to me. Really? And they spend $160,000 to mamagai people into believing that they're doing something to impact crime. How is this going to impact crime? How can one lecture of 2 to 4 hours impact a child or a young man who has gone through between 15 years and 30 years of hatred, lack of love, lack of guidance, lack of self-esteem, being told he's no good, being cursed every day, gotten involved with gangs already, committed crimes before? How a 2-hour lecture with a guy sitting down nice with gold chain and nice shoes, telling them, hey man, I did it. I got up and I did it. How much impact is that Empower going to have? Stop murdering people with stupidity. And then all you want to open your big mouth from Lekoto, you say, like Jambi from Lekoto about live sport. Live sport was every day, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, with national heroes, national captains organizing, with guidance counselors, with social workers, doing literacy and numeracy, putting food in the belly, giving them a little money. And they were in the areas, breaking down borderlines through competition, interaction, charity projects, creating businesses, forming, getting IDs. When we found out of the 2,378 youths for the 2 years that we found, over 1,570 of them didn't even have an ID card. You tell me about your empower thing. You get people to go and talk for 2 hours. Hey, the caravan comes down to library. All right, library, talk for 2 hours. Then you head up to Matlot. Hey, look fancy thing, talk. To no bandit, no criminal, nothing. Mama guying people and spending taxpayer money, 160,000 to put picture of yourself in the papers. All you cannot be serious. And to you, the people, if you all find that makes sense, well then I can't help nobody in this country. These are critical, serious problems which need holistic, consistent intervention on a daily basis, and it needs to even go deeper now into the primary school. But them come with empower. Big plans for youths. Here the next one. Foster Cummins, who introduced Rowley as Patrick, right? Foster Venture Credit Union Cummins. Foster Bundles Cummins. The cabinet has agreed to convert the Shagaramas Convention Center into a youth facility at a cost of 60 million. That is all the PNM could do is find something to spend all their money to say Noel Garcia refurbish something. So that is a big thing for youths. The convention center, PNM going to spend 60 million to turn it into what? A youth camp? They shut down TTHTI. They shut down youth camps. They shut down the nursing school. This one shut down the nursing program. Rowley cut funding of UTT in half since 2016. Closed down 4 NESC centers. Closed down 8 MIC centers. Cut funding to COSTAT. Cut funding to sport. Cut funding to culture. Cut funding to planning schools. And them coming to say, hey, the PNM is going to spend 60 million on another project to put paint and concrete and do gypsum, just like the stadium. You all not sick of these people? And kill them, they're them bright, you know. Kill them, they're amazing. You all the human beings, I'm asking you, aren't you sick and tired of this mamagism and stupidity? 60 million to refurbish a building, that going to help opportunities for the youth? They cut gate from 726 million under Kamla and Fazal Karim in 2014 down to 300 million. They cut school feeding from 78,000 meals, breakfast and lunch per day under Tim Gopi Singh and Kamla down to 48,000 before COVID. And then they use COVID as an excuse to cut it down to 20,000, 56,000 meals. By 112,000 meals per day less for children to even fill the belly. So they want hungry belly children who do not have the best motivators and parents in their lives, who do not live in the best areas where they could have community group sports and so on, and plans and karate and programs and swimming, where they are left to just, they brought up by themselves. These people are saying, after they cut everything, that real opportunities for the youths now. The MPNM going to let Noel Garcia hand out the next contract for 60 million to a contractor to fix up convention center, and that's the panacea for youth delinquency. The stupidity is in your face. It's debilitating. Like I need to get and invent a Panadol for stupidity, because these people are sick, and you know them arrogant. Everyone, there's one come in the Senate, they're the next bundle. This one come arrogant talking when police looking for you all over the place to take statement. But you, my people, y'all chose that. Somebody sent me a thing that Mahatma Gandhi say, if there's an idiot in charge, the people got what they deserve. Because it's the people who put the idiot there. Like Mahatma knew Rowley was coming, boy. Now, as we talk about Rowley, under all of that we've spoken about, under the flooding, the incompetence of the PNM, they are coming to take more money out your pocket to give Noel Garcia to give out contract. And if somebody get the contract wrong, B-Mobile will say, oh, there was a glitch, and the other company that they want to give it will be allowed to come in late, and then they will miraculously be the one who win the contract. Just, they're going to give you property tax now to take more money out of your pocket to fuel the 510 recusals in 4 years, which is now about 720 recusals. They're coming to give you property tax. Listen carefully, and they lied about it. Colm lied and said it was in the manifesto. Anyway, run it, Archie, it will explain.
Last question, please.
Ria Rampoli, CNC3. One of the more contentious issues in the last general election was that of the property tax. Where in the PNM's manifesto is this addressed?
It's not in the document. This is one of the things we need to talk to people about.
Let me take that one. I'm glad you raised that. I heard a UNC minister, I think it was the famous Prakash Ramadar, telling people that the PNM will bring back the dreaded property tax. Let me make it abundantly clear. The property tax has already been dealt with. So for anybody in the government now to be telling the population that this PNM coming into office will bring back that tax is the highest level of dishonesty, which has been the hallmark of this UNC government. So I'm
Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Property Tax Act, Chapter 7604, be forthwith read a third time and passed.
Honorable members, the question is that a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Property Tax Act, Chapter 7604, be now read a third time and passed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any against? No. I think the ayes have it.
Madam President, this matter of the property tax, this tax, I want to tell the Honorable Minister of Finance, is dreaded, it is draconian, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly the working man and woman, cannot afford at this time to pay any property tax.
To respond to Senator Mark, I reject his assertion this is not an onerous imposition. I reject his assertion with respect to the population not in support of this. We have put it twice in our general election manifesto.
Last question, please.
Ria Rampoli, CNC3. One of the more contentious issues in the last general election was that of the property tax. Where in the PNM's manifesto is this addressed?
It's not in the document. This is one.
Is this addressed?
It's not in the document.
24 senators voted for, 6 senators voted against, and 0 abstentions. As such, the question is put and passed.
But in the USA and European Union and other countries, people don't mind paying tax, and they pay tax and it works and so on. That's very interesting, you know. But look around, take a deep breath. We not in USA, we not in European Union, we not in Canada, we in Trinidad and Tobago with a PNM government, so people don't want to pay tax because they've seen the wastage, the squandermania, the corruption, the heartlessness, the oppression of this tyrannical PNM. In fact, we are suffering from brain drain like never before. Every child that goes out to university, whether on scholarship, academic, or sporting,
Their parents are saying if you get a job out there, stay out there, marry out there, don't come back here. So don't come to tell me about other people's country. If we were like them where we could drive without busting tire and busting rim, if we were like them and mosquito wasn't biting we as 6 p.m. reach in Aranguez and St. Joseph, if we were like them and local government was working, we wouldn't mind paying tax, but we are paying them. Then the Honorable Minister posted that $540 to $2,700 extra a year is fair. The Honorable Minister of Finance said that's a fair tax. Now how he determined that, I would love to know. Because a fair tax, if you have money, you could say that might be fair. But when you take away fuel subsidy, and you put online 7% tax, and people lost their jobs, and no increase, and you offer them 0.001011%, and inflation is at 45% for food since 2015, and in medicine has gone up by 75%. When $100 you go in the grocery and you come out with 2 bricks and a piece of cheese, where the grocery now cutting up cheese and locking it in a cabinet because people stealing cheese. If those are the conditions out there, what you coming to tell me about a fair tax? You don't take away the fuel subsidy, so anybody with a car, already 56,000 cars, the smaller cars, the Tida Wetman, the B13, them kind of cars, they're off the road because men have to determine when to use the car, when to use the gas. Should I use it to pick up my wife from work or the children from school? Children, or they take Maxi. I have to go for the wife because her shift late. That's how people are operating in this country, and y'all PNM so out of touch. You come to say that $540 to $2,700 extra is fair, and when you have zero, how that could be fair? That means you're going minus $2,700. Y'all are not aware of what is out there. You think the crime is just escalating what? Because Trinidad and Tobago, we just have a bad gene? The social conditions are horrendous. The gap between the rich and the poor is being exacerbated every day by policies of no care. And you can hear it in that, how could a Minister of Finance come in the Senate that is being live to the country and say $2,700 is fair? If I hand out $2,700, how are we going to pay that? Fair or unfair? It is oppressive.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard Coleman but lying, saying that it was not in the manifesto, first of all, when asked by Rhea Rambali, and then come in the Senate and say the people chose to pay property tax because it was in the PNM, 2 PNM manifestos, a blatant lie by the Duen. And they come in and forcing property tax down your throat to say local government will get resources. And they are saying by themselves that it's because there's no money allocated to local government that you have to take a tax, and when you pay, the money will go to the corporation. First and foremost, the residential that they're forcing now in the law, that the PNM is forcing down your throat with the support of the 9 PNM independents, and you saw PNM celebrating taxing you, you know. The PNM government celebrating taxing you with Amory Brown and Paula Gopi-Schoon and Rohan Sinanan and Richie Sukai knocking the table, happy as you get no service. Look, the first piece of rain, everybody flood out because the PNM does not allocate resources to local government. All the corporations, including Diego Martin, that them in control of. But you all have to understand, this election coming August 14th, some people calling it local government small. Let me tell you, anything named election is huge thing, because we have to get rid of the PNM at every level and keep them out for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Let them splinter and break up into new thing, break up into new, get logo and new colors and so on. You have to get rid of the PNM. It is a curse on this country. You want to hear why? Ministry targets 10,000 SCA students. Now understand what I am saying here. Under this PNM, SCA students now at between the ages of 10, when I took common entrance, I took it at 10, and on August 25th, I turned 11, and school started in 1980 on September 2nd. So I was 11 for 7 days before I went into Form 1. At Form 5, I was 15, taking 9 subjects. Okay? Do you know the PNM has our children are entering the primary school football league in an under 14 competition? In primary school, they have children that are 14. 13 and 14, and now the ministry says that coming up in July and so on, they are targeting 10,000 SCA students for remedial classes. 10,000? Less than 20,000 took the exam, 18,889. So more than 50% fail. Over 1,000 get 0. If they are 12, 13, 14, and crime and gang membership is at 14, well, some of them now in primary school joining and so on. But 14 to real killer age, 20, 23, 24, if until they're dead. That's 1,000 at 0 who are totally through the cracks, have nothing to do, and we don't even know what skill they have, and the PNM say, empower, come hear a speech. Yeah, you got 0 in the SCA. Well, how are they going to read your $160,000 advertisement shameful? If they got 0 in the SCA, that means they're illiterate. They can't read. Okay? How are they going to know where to go? You are creating 10,000 opportunities for gang membership under the PNM 8 years after collapsing the education system at all levels, shutting down every single thing that Kamla Prasad Bissessa, Tim Gopi Singh, and Fazal Karim were doing to build and boost and take Trinidad and Tobago to the top of the world in education, tertiary access, and so on. Now here comes bundles, and we are in a bundle of trouble. By the way, bundles, do you know about by home by Rowley Day, where you go down the steps, you pass 3 dogs, you'll go down a bit more, there's a parrot, you go past the parrot and into the office downstairs with a bright red couch? Are you aware of that? Or is just Anil? I never went to know. I mean the minister man, let me ask you this. Anyway, that was just an aside. But we are up the creek without a paddle. We are in flood waters in Murga, Tableland, Princestown, Naparima without a paddle. I must commend all the UNC MPs without resources for going out there and still trying to serve your people, trying to serve the citizens, trying to save them from the incompetence, lack of preparation, lack of investment, lack of knowledge, lack of creativity, lack of heart and soul, lack of care of the People's National Movement led by Keith Christopher Nasty Goatweed Rowley. Play it.
Because we have been engaged in legal battle and obstruction by the UNC in preventing the government from operationalizing the property tax law. You have to ask yourself, why is it they are so hell-bent on preventing this tax from being collected?
Keith Rowley wants to punish the people of our country who are already struggling by implementing his new property tax. But here's what Keith Rowley had to say in Parliament about the same property tax back in 2009. As reported in the Hansard of the Parliament, Keith Rowley said, "In my own constituency, there is anger, anxiety, and resentment at both ends of the spectrum. They have brought the tax at the worst possible time," alluding to tough economic times. Rowley also rejected the idea that property tax would help communities. Instead, it would bring further hardship. He said, "I know a lot of people for whom $100 is a lot of money. A lot are struggling to make ends meet," said Rowley. Rowley also chastised the PNM for asking people to pay property tax while his own constituents could not even get water in their taps. Any hike in such water rates under the property tax, Rowley said, would now amount to provocation. If you try to defend the indefensible, you will create resentment and provoke people. And that is what we have at the moment, said Rowley back in 2009. But now, by implementing the property tax, Prime Minister Keith Rowley is defending the indefensible.
While Rowley defends the indefensible, the mass media, headed by the PNM Guardian and the PNM Guardian Media Limited, and Norman Sabga III, the PNM Guardian Media Limited, the PNM Guardian newspaper, you see, and you hire Asha Javid. Look, for example, the Guardian newspaper, somewhere, somehow, they say that they did some poll where they asked the population to choose the top woman in the country who you love and adore. And somehow, Christine Kangaloo get number one, you know. Christine Kangaloo, Garcia Kangaloo, Christine biased, total, oppressive president of the Senate, Christine Kangaloo, who get her work because Rowley pushing it, because she's a Rowley, because Rowley pushing politics. Christine, you know about the red couch, past the tree, you walk down the steps, past tree dog. Then you go down a bit further, past a parrot, go into the dungeon office, and a bright red couch. Did you ever have a meeting there, Christine Kangaloo? So, Guardian, Christine Kangaloo beat Patrice Roberts, Naira Blackman, Destra Garcia, some of our female athletes. What? Look, movie now. And check the Guardian. Well, this is the Guardian again now. Leave it, bring it back. Bring back Sabga, Norman Sabga III. And why not tell you, boy, when you see me, whether in the band, carnival, walking in the road, jogging, just walk past straight. Don't bother to come and talk to me nothing. Right? Because you're a waste of time and you're dishonest. Because you're telling me that I lying on you, that you are balanced, you are impartial, your Guardian media that had the Jamaican woman, a PNM Jamaican, that go and get a PNM losing candidate to put them on the Balize brew in the morning. And your editorial position time and time again is past illogical. And now you hire the one convicted journalistic liar with conflict of interest inside, outside, upside down, lying down on she back. You hire she as a political investigative editor-in-chief, and you put back Sabga, and you telling me that you are not PNM and you are fair and balanced. When you see me, boss, Joe him say good morning, forget that. Just walk so, look so, there nothing to tell me. All right, because watch this part too. Mr. Guardian Media Limited, fair and balanced. Our country has a problem with governance, says some individual. And talking about our country has had a problem with governance. We see that at the national level through successive governments. We see it in the Tobago element with the recent fiascos. They didn't see fiascos from 2003 to 2000, when was our election? 2021, they didn't see that. They didn't see the Scarborough Hospital. They didn't see the Shaw Park thing. They didn't see the Buku goat race thing for 100 million. They didn't see meal serve. They didn't see $24 billion flitted away by PNM. But this person printed in the Guardian come to say successive governments, poor governance. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, one person for one chairmanship of one board. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, one person on one board. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, no friends, family, no family members of ministers on any board whatsoever. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, no ministers recusing themselves for contract. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, tender committees, tender board, tender advertisement. If it's not done properly, redo it. That's Kamla Prasad Bisesa. But somehow you found somebody to write in the Guardian to lump PNM and everybody else together. When the PNM under Keith Rowley is the most oppressive, dictatorial, corrupt government in the history of the Caribbean. And those who say all government does thief, really? In 5 years and 5 months, the first 5 years and 5 months of Keith Rowley's term, he spent $325 billion. In Kamla's 5 years and 5 months, she spent $310 billion. But you got 106 schools, Rowley 0. You got highway to Point 14, reach quite down in Penal Day. You got sport aquatic center, tennis center, national cycling velodrome. You got roads, smooth roads, and WASA and Works and Ministry of Works and Transport working together. You got money, you got increase in gate from 300 million to 726. You got created 55,000 jobs. Petrotrin was open. Money spent across the board. You got community centers, fire station, police station, all of these things. Salary negotiation across the board for 15 billion less than Rowley. But all your PNM come to say somebody else thief. All you look in the mirror and look good, eh? So this Guardian Media Limited finds this man to say, well, all the governments are the same. We see it now at the community level and the municipal level. I wonder who Guardian Media Limited would be trying to pass off as some bastion of integrity to analyze and to try to impact the mind share of the population as an election has been forced. The Prime Minister has been forced to call an election and saying no election observers, while the niece of a former sitting cabinet minister is in charge of the Elections and Boundaries Commission. The lady is the best friend of Bundles from St. Augustine Girls High School. Bundles being the current deputy political leader of the PNM and the current Minister of Education, the total failure, fostering all sorts of nonsense in our school. Who did this? Guardian find a man who, for no reason, would attack Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC at every juncture. But then something happened also. Derek Ramsamoose, you know. Ramsamoose, but Ramsamoose, you ain't get charged in Suriname for something? For what? How you reach back? Mr. Norman Saab got the third. Put back Norman Saab got the third. Find out what actual criminal charges this man who you are promoting in your PNM piece of propaganda nonsense, Derek Ramsamoose in Suriname, find out what kind of criminal charges he is under before you print him in your toilet paper. And remember, when you see the douglAR, close your eyes and walk straight, and rest me, because you're sickening. Heroes Foundation, BBC World, questions, empower young people of Trinidad and Tobago. You all know who is the Heroes Foundation? Asha Javid was boasting all over her face. Oh, it's such an honor. The BBC sought me out because of my track record. Oh, they read the Sibalak Singh judgment where the judge was very harsh on me and called me dishonest, called me incompetent, called me wicked, and put punitive damages on me because I lied in a newspaper called The Express on Sibalak Singh, the former CEO of the EMBDC under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and many other things. But oh my goodness, the BBC, they just thought this Asha Javid, who make children for this one, and then when he come into mining children, horn he with a small pin, Asha Javid, who saw the clause, the non-disclosure clause or non-negotiation or don't sell to Venezuela clause in a contract that had been executed 23 days before, she lay down on her back with small pin and saw the clause. Nobody else has seen the clause. This Asha Javid. She says that the BBC sought her out and selected her from a pool of Caribbean journalists and so on to be in some BBC thing that's going on. Really? When I look carefully, it's the Heroes Foundation of Trinidad and Tobago. You know who's the Heroes Foundation? Who came up with the concept? Who's the main man? Who pushed it from way back in 2001? A fellow called Philip Julian. Who's Philip Julian? Philip Julian is the son of Ken Julian, PNM, Balizan Rice, down the board. The Heroes Foundation is PNM. The PNM select Asha Javid. The PNM Guardian select Asha Javid. And Norman Sabga III have the audacity to tell me that I just make up thing on he, and he is his newspaper and his company. That's why you all lost $8.5 million. And this year, I promise you, you're going to lose $14 million. You understand me, brother? When you see me, what to do? Walk straight. Don't even recognize my face. PNM, Mitchell, $4 million still to be released to NCC. Remember, we come to tell you, invigilators, the people who walk during carnival and thing, even get paid yet. We in June, you know. He now say the government is going to release money to pay these people. I guess according to him and Colm, these people don't need the money they worked for because they haven't received it, and then they are going to tax them on top of that, and it's fair. It's fair not to pay people, and then it's fair to tax people that have not been paid, according to Puss in Boots, Randall Mitchell, and Colm the Dwayne Inbutt. And some of you vote for that. It's amazing, isn't it, when you break it down to facts? Now, 3 received SABGA Caribbean Awards for excellence. You see how in life you could be fair, balanced, and know about propriety and merit, and then when PNM things get involved, you get confused, disgusting, sickening, and biased. The SABGA Awards, well, the same, he father and them, so it's all SABGA, but he's the CEO now, but them, the other SABGAs in the picture there, right? Norman II and so on. But understand this, the Director of Women's Health at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Ade Surgeon Singh, is one of the 3 recipients of the Anthony Sabga Caribbean Award for Excellence, and $500,000 for their contribution in various fields. Fantastic. That is a man who deserves an award based on work, based on performance, based on education activity. See, merit is good. Excuse me. They held the awards at the Center of Excellence, right? The other laureates are Joanne C. Hillhouse from Antigua and Barbuda, Dr. Mahendra Prasad from Guyana, right? I went through all of their resumes, and the SABGA Caribbean Awards Committee is fantastic. These people deserve the award and more. Well done, well selected, based on their performance, how they did, what they did, their contribution. It is totally deserving. Okay? So how can SABGA Awards be so good and then with Guardian Media Limited be so rotten? And to answer, I say PNM. Kangaloo, be mindful of the seeds sowed in life. Well, girl, you was mindful, you was letting all kind of people seeds sow. President Christine Kangaloo called on people to be mindful of the seeds they chose to sow and of the things elected to plant in their lives. She said it celebrates the reminder that the divine is always here, and that reminder is particularly important in times of difficulty. I want you to stick this by your bedhead. When the elections call, all elections are critical and important. And when your evil boss, Keith Christopher Obia Rowley, who sowed seeds of pain and contempt on Patrick Manning through Lekoto and lied in Emailgate and appointed you to the Senate President to oppress the views of people who are already oppressed by the numbers and the minority in the Senate, and you accepting a position that you do not deserve and you're unqualified for, and a person, one nominee who you went up against is far more qualified. Whether I personally like him or not is irrelevant. You are sowing the seeds of nepotism as you hand out to your husband, after Larry Williams cough him up in his face. You hand out silk to him and your brother. You are sowing seeds that you will reap the whirlwind. So read your words. Me say that, I reading you to you, Kangaloo. Move she. Rowley, I see Kangaloo. Keith Christopher Rowley, Anil O.E. Roberts, aka the douglAR, is asking you, do you have an office downstairs, your house there, where you have to go down the steps, and on the right side you pass 3 dogs that are chilling out there, getting some shade. And as you go down a little further, there's a parrot. And then when you get into the office, there's one big, bright red couch. I never come by you. I'm not your friend. I detest you. How I know, Keith Christopher? Tell me a lie now. Donna, a lie. Over 3,000 mothers with diabetes receive focused care at NCRHA. Over 3,000 mothers, Just mothers. Not single women, not men. 3,000 mothers with diabetes receive focused care at the NCRHA, not the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, not the Southwest, not Central, not Tobago, at the NCRHA, 3,000 mothers, right? This clown called Convent Girl Dialsing that nobody could find in St. Joseph. This fool, this toilet paper fool, this rod falling down on his head, this drive aside and park and wept. This clown, he didn't just say last week, about 10 days ago, and I read it out here, that we are #1 in the world in NCDs and fighting MCDs. He didn't just say that. And then the news reports 3,000 mothers seek help for diabetes in the NCRHA alone. Let me hear him talk, man. Tell me how good we are now, you big clown.
#1 in the world, #1 in the world, #1 in the world.
Now, this is a worry. You could move here. Our society is lost based on the Obia from Lekoto, based on intelligent people who know what's right, just concocting spurious, ridiculous, dotish, asinine reasons to pretend that what they're doing is right and not wrong. Gilbert Peterson is a PNM. He benefits in the largest of the PNM. Gilbert Peterson is Rowley's brethren, like this, Pandero, he like Noel Garcia. Gilbert Peterson is Rowley's neighbor in Inez Gate in Tobago. Gilbert Peterson, who knows nothing about oil and gas or bunkering, and didn't even know it's a competitive industry that people been waiting for licenses forever. Millions of US per month, but it's not competitive. Yeah, because people don't really like money. So according to Gilbert Peterson is a man who gets millions and millions in briefs from the PNM. Every recommendation, we still waiting on him, Gilbert Peterson, and the next one, I even forget his name now, who gave the advice on the indemnity to Rowley and Faris Al-Rawi to get involved in a criminal matter. So Gilbert Peterson is a staunch PNM, a proud PNM. He's best friends for decades, over 40 years, with Keith Christopher Rowley. He also is Keith Christopher Rowley's attorney in several matters. Okay. Let me ask you this. If Gilbert Peterson had one wife, and he's had that wife for 40-something years or whatever, and the couple has been friends with Rowley for 40 years, neighbor for many years, PNM for decades, supporter, believer, come over for lunch, lime, drink, go to party, go to Panyard for 40 years of togetherness. I mean, I congratulate him for, it's not easy to have a marriage that lasts long, right? Now, if there was a political case or a case that involved the decision of her or this couple's best friend, confidant, client, neighbor, pandero, brethren, don't you think that it would be right for this gentleman's wife, if a case came before, to say, hey, no, not me. My husband PNM, my husband is Rowley brethren. Rowley and he is like brothers from another mother, not me. Let somebody who don't have no connection to it. Wouldn't that be right? Wouldn't that be appropriate? Wouldn't that pass the test for apparent bias? And this man knows it better than anybody. The test for apparent bias came out in a case in the UK, in the Commonwealth, way back in 1930-something or so, where a decision was made by a judge, but when they check and appeal, that somebody was in the room who had a connection to the organization that would be impacted by the ruling. That's the test, And then there's another test of reasonableness. Would someone believe that this gentleman's wife, loving wife, and he and she together a long time, that man was probably in the wedding lime and knock glass, together, celebrate, lime in Tobago, lime on fishing vessel, lime in golf club, client, talking, PNM policy, advisor to the government. Wouldn't it be right for his wife, when a case comes up that involves the implementation of a policy desired by this prime minister here, wouldn't it be right for her to simply say, not me, let me put it there, let them choose somebody else? Wouldn't that? Am I sounding ridiculous, biased? Am I sounding biased and passionate and wrong? Or is that just so simple? Well, she didn't see it as simple. There's now a legal challenge and appeal to Justice Betsy Ann Lambert Peterson. Now remember, apparent bias does not mean I cast no aspersions on the lady that she is biased or she was biased. I didn't read the judgment, or I didn't read what were the arguments and so on. I'm not getting into that. I'm talking about propriety, about conflict of interest, about recusal, about understanding that apparent bias means that a reasonable human being would believe that if you are loving of this man and this man loved that man, not in that way, but love like a brother, and is benefiting millions and billions of dollars, and the neighbors and the close and the knock glass and the lime and they share war stories and they share liming stories for 40, 50 years, that it means that a reasonable person would believe that any human being, no matter how professionally brilliant, no matter how intelligent, no matter how impartial, there would be an apparent bias. There's no need for an actual bias. Do you know, for some unknown reason, Justice Betsy Ann Lambert Peterson could not see the logic in what I just presented. And why is that? Because I think I just presented a logical position without casting aspersions on anybody. It's just right. But now, law letter from Freedom Chambers to question the whole thing. It's about the TTRA, the Revenue Authority, a highly politically charged matter. that he and Coleman but want to come to pump down your throat. They pass it through the Senate for the PNM to choose a board to go in your taxes, in your business, to appoint the Director General. The PNM board will appoint that and appoint all except one will come from the public service. But the PNM controls the public service, and this one still want to control public service commissions also. That is a politically charged case. But yet this one wife did not see it appropriate to say, "Oop, baby, you know you is a PNM. You and Rowley, I cook for all you. All you eat me corn soup. All you knock glass. When Rowley over drink and fall down and thing, you lift him up and carry him for the special branch. I can't do that." How come she did it? How come she sat and went through the case and adjudicated on it? Does that sound correct? I leave that for y'all to decide. Move the two clowns, please. Move them. Thank God for oil and gas, says another clown. Says Stuart Smallpin Young. Thank God for oil and gas. To you, Stuart Smallpin Young, I have to say that you have to thank the devil for the PNM, because you have collapsed the energy sector like no one else. You will go down in history not only as the smallest pin, but the smallest brain. You complete blithering idiot. HSF records US 913. Movie and put the next one, you know. Put the duende. Oh, look, they saw thing. You know, this is so sickening. If you would thief a logo, do you think they would thief $1? If they would thief an image and try to pretend and take the greatness of the greatest basketball player of all time, the greatest athlete behind, second greatest behind Muhammad Ali, for global impact, belief, fighting, endorsing, doing things that are unimaginable, that boggle the mind, that create the hard work, the ethic, the continuous championship pedigree of Jordan. Them put Jordan on that shit jersey? Are you really serious? That alone, anybody who knows propriety and righteousness, all you must vote out the PNM, local, general, right through THA election. These people are sick. Do you not see that? That is not a Photoshop thing, you know. That is real. Plenty of them wearing that. If you will steal a man's image and rights, and Nike, only somebody tag Nike, cut out this piece here and tag Nike, let them sue the PNM for about 100 million US. Not the country, you know, the PNM, where they have money and they bill it and they're paying for Bally's house. Because the 5% everybody, all the councillors and so on, give a contribution. But I see Kusals, I see Junior Sammy, I see Calco, I see Earth Movers. I say, but how much contractor on one building? And all of the contractors have government contracts. That means that is called kickback. That is called bribery. That is called corruption. And when Kamala win, all you who donate, where you donate, you better get the bills, because you will have to produce the bills. You understand, General Counsel of the PNM? You'll have to, yes, I bought this. Look at this here. Bhagwan Singh, we bought it for 35 million. Okay, Bhagwan Singh, where the check stub? Where the deposit? Bhagwan Singh don't make joke. Bhagwan Singh does have every nook and cranny. When you go there to get a little gravel or a yard of sand, it's about 6 different pieces of paper you have to sign with 10 different people signing and so on. So don't get tired. PNM will be caught with the corruption and that edifice of corruption, that Babel Tower. But you could move here and put it when your HSF, your Heritage and Stabilization Fund, your money, the people money, not this clown money, not Rowley money, not Smallpin who wearing the thief logo money. You lost $6.4 billion last year. Let me repeat. You had savings. These people appointed a board to invest your money to make it work. they were so incompetent and made such bad decisions that last year, your money disappeared to the tune of $6.2 billion. And they said nothing. He knew that he gets weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly reports, and he is in charge of the board, in charge of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. So he knew everything, every day, how much was being lost, what was at peril, what was at risk, and so on. And he said nothing. And now they want you to vote for PNM. Business Sunday Express. Trinidad and Tobago's Heritage and Stabilization Fund made a loss of US $913.5 million, nearly $1 billion. I even underestimated. It's more than 6.2 billion because at the rate, the exchange rate, because it's black market now, sometimes man buying $7.50, $8 and so on. 913.5 million last financial year. Its recently published annual report has revealed since its establishment in 2007, this is the first time the Sovereign Wealth Fund has recorded a total comprehensive loss. For the first time, total comprehensive loss. And you could use that phrase in works and transport, in drainage, in flooding, in school, in SCA failures, in gate funding, in job creation, in infrastructure development, in sport, in education across the board, in every facet of life in Trinidad and Tobago. You could say that for the first time, the PNM is a total comprehensive failure in everything. So the fund has recorded a total comprehensive loss for the year. The lion's share of the loss incurred this year was as a result of the US $908.5 million loss recorded from the HSF's investments. The annual report reveals. So these PNM in charge of your money. If them had just leave your money there. Just leave, just don't touch it. Don't do nothing. Don't invest, just leave it. You would still have 913.5 extra million US. But them went and say, put together a board bright like this dance that is build stadium to fall down and build townhouse down and they go that wall fall down and come down. That clung. And in their decisions, hey, let's invest in, let's see if we could get this money to grow. It poof, disappeared. And they come arrogantly to talk to you, the people, and come to tell you about vote for them. Jawala Rambaran wrote something very interesting. You have the statement, go up, let me read that. Let me read what Jawala Rambaran said, if you have it there. Because it's very interesting. And yes, long ago, during the days of sugar, when the sun would still rise over the sugarcane fields, the Indian elders, like my grandparents in Rio Claro, used to talk about the people in the village whose hand didn't have a barakat. A barakat, I learned, was an Urdu word used to describe the ability to earn wealth and keep it. Our Muslim neighbors also frequently use the term to mean blessings. This morning, June 11, 2023, the Sunday Express cover page screamed the headline, Heritage and Stabilization Fund historic US $913 million loss, reminding me that the old idea of barakat still has relevance today. As the Rowley PNM government continues to show their hands have not been blessed to create wealth. Think about for a moment. It took about 5 years for our Heritage and Stabilization Fund in its previous informal incarnation as the Interim Revenue and Stabilization Fund to build up a balance of over US 900 million. It took 5 years for your money, your savings to build up, build up, chirrup, chirrup, chirrup. Well, more than chirrup, but build up. And Rowley and Imbert and the PNM lost that money in 1 year. The Rowley PNM government has lost this amount from the Heritage and Stabilization in just 1 year. And they waited 9 months to disclose a loss, which is equivalent to nearly 20% of the outstanding balance in the HSF at the end of September 2022. Talk about having no barakat. Come back to me. That is the PNM. And then we also see with their incompetence and their flitting away of your money, whether it's NGC, Mosquito Crack, the highway to Toco, to Valencia that never built, but the money gone, to the 442 million wasted on a leaking, collapsing Red House, the Central Block, the CCTV cameras that tender get a glitch and a company come in. Wherever you look, it's PNM corruption, theft, and mismanagement. Now they say the PNM and Rohan Sinanan with his new unwanted sidekick, Richie Sukai, who went in the parliament to answer question and did not get the answer from Rohan nor Camille Robinson-Regis. They said in a joint select committee that tenders are out for repairs to 3 landslips. Relief soon for long-suffering Penal Rock Road residents. So the tenders are out for 3 landslips in Penal and 14 landslips in Trinidad and Tobago for this year before the rain, because it had more landslip today. 14. In Murga Tableland, there are over 125 landslips. In Naparima Mayaro, there are over 75 landslips. Across Trinidad and Tobago, there are over 580 landslips. And the PNM say that for this year with your money, they're going to fix 14. But they're fixing the Hazy Crawford Stadium for 80 million. They're going and fix the Convention Center for Youth for 60 million. They fix Rowley House in Tobago for 37 million. They fix Skinner Park for 131 million, and it moved from a football field, the World Cup, to a sweat grass. That is PNM brilliance for you. I can't make this up, you know. Drivers upset over Mayaro Badio Road. Taxi drivers call for urgent repairs to Manzanilla bypass. Now, why didn't tell all you when about 5 months ago, Rohan Sinanan stand up in front of some gravel thing and ball is 14 million right there on douglAR Politics. I say, but what madness is that? What rubbish is that? What you doing people down there in Manzanilla and Mayaro? Or what nonsense is PNM doing? Look all your 14 million. Look all your 14 million.
Yes, people, good morning.
Run it.
Right, people, Miaro, Manzanilla, Sandy Grande. Right? All they tell me what they think about this. This is the bypass road. Now, please, all they don't get vexed with me, right? If you're here, I use obscene. 1 or 2 might fall out the bag. I try and hard for it not to fall out the bag. But, people, this is the bypass road. This is the bypass road. Right? Watch this. What all they think about this? This is the bypass road. What all they think about this? Watch all down there. The bypass road. The bypass road. Wait time 10 what? 23. This man coming here, he know the road. Watch where the man, where he flip. Where the van flip. The van flip and go on in the bush. Go on in the bush there. Watch where the van end up. Watch where the man van end up. I know all they fed up at this again. After that video was aired Tuesday, Wednesday past Thursday, they sent a contractor to do something for us, right? The contractor grade or whatever they do and drop a set of rubbish in the road. Right? Put a set of rubbish in the road. This road. What you all think? And that is Thursday they do that, eh? Thursday. Watch this. Watch where the ambulance passing. Look at that. The ambulance had to come on my side to pass. Right?
And then Rohan say 1.6 million to fix the Gasparilla Road, but Manzanilla Mayaro will have to wait. All you wait and see when PNM come by your gate, say great. And hear the express. Because I sat down in a joint select committee listening, and me I say a word, because I felt I would have cussed. And the real people and the real, well, they had one or two, but the real sinners, the real wicked, heartless people, I want to see Rowley there. I want Rohan to be there. I want the ministers to be there. The minister man who does dig up road after it pave and so on, to deal with them, because they are the real ones responsible. Not some public servants and some people who work in them just do what they say. So me, I really want to fight downstairs. I just fight upstairs, because that's where the real decisions that suffer this country are made. And the PNM from the highest level, from Rowley come down, the worst, when I tell you. So the Express saw the Joint Select Committee, and they had, well, this, and then they make, remember Rowley and them come and say under Al-Rawi, they're going to make a special purpose company to fix road and local government, and they give it from here, then they take it back from here. Well, here the Express. Daily Express, Friday, 9 June. Certainly, the JSC helped to explain why the National Road Repair Program is in the mess that it is. Maybe the information they presented made sense within their respective silos, but from the outside, the impression was one of multiple state entities operating haphazardly in a landscape of cracks, gaps, overlaps, and is in serious need of rationalization. But what the Express does not say, the gaps, cracks, and the lack of rationalization and the incoherent policy comes from the cabinet, comes from the government, comes from the leadership of the PNM. You must also understand, the Express says that various administrations have attempted to solve this problem. You see, the Express, you are dishonest, you are bloody liars, and that's why I can't take it. And Tim Gopi saying, sorry, I vex, because you see, this honesty must stop. Because what they say there is basically PNM, UNC, same thing. But is that true? Let me tell you. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, with Jack Warner and Ganga Singh as Minister of Public Utilities, and then Surajratan Rambachan, there was a cohesion, a cohesive existence. Kamla Prasad Bisesa instructed those ministers, especially the Minister of Public Utilities, to go with a detailed plan of works to the Ministry of Works to tell them what areas they are going to dig up and fix pipeline. And then when they are finished laying their pipelines and testing and compounding and packing, then the Ministry of Works will come there after. So public utilities go first and Ministry of Works flow. Also, Chandra Sharma, the Minister of Local Government, would be given extra funding to his ministry for the secondary roads through the corporations. And Kamla Prasad Bisesa's cabinet would allocate high percentage of money to the request of the different corporations. PNM come to tell you that the corporation may ask for 100 million, but they only get 10. In some cases, 18 out of the 100 million. So therefore, they need property tax. That's the argument the PNM is using. But who allocates the amount or the percentage of the request of every single corporation in Trinidad? It is the cabinet of the PNM. It is the cabinet notes brought to the cabinet by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. So if the PNM's priority is to starve corporations, including their own Diego Martin Corporation, and then worse, for those that Rowley deems are UNC, when they request 100 million, you allocate them 10. Then for the first 6 months, you give them nothing. And then in about month 7 and 8, you start to throw little trinkles of corn. And then by the end of the year, you have not even released the full 10. That did not exist under Kamla Prasad Bisesa Express, you dishonest organization. So to lump the PNM incompetence and the most dilapidated roads in our history, enhanced by no rationalization, no policy, no cohesion, Ministry of Public Utilities doing what they want, no teamwork, no combination, no planning, lack of investment, lack of allocation for corporations and local government. When you add all of that on the PNM side, don't come and compare UNC to that. It was not so. And the roads, all the roads were in a better condition under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. But Express, you're so dishonest and disgusting. It's not funny. But then also, hear the Express. The Express says, as has so often happened in the past, the solution devised by the Rowley administration was merely adding to the problem. It has been 9 months since the Secondary Road Rehabilitation and Improvement Company, SRRIC, headed by Newman George, came into effect. I have no like for Newman George, but he is not in charge of that. It's Herbert George. The Express is a newspaper in Trinidad and Tobago, and like them to the Express, all black men look the same. Because this is Herbert George, who's in charge of that SRRIC. And that's Newman George, the man who was in charge of Paria as they left 4 divers to drown, to die, and to suffocate in a pipeline. See the difference? This is Newman George. Yes, he's on about 7 different boards. And this is Herbert George, NIDCO, and now SRRIC. So Express, please, you're embarrassing yourself on top of being totally biased PNM and not talking the truth and pretending that the UNC and Kamla Prasad Bisesa was not better in road paving, road maintenance, unity and unison and collaboration and synergy between the Ministry of Public Utilities and the Ministry of Works and Transport, as well as higher funding for local government corporations. You are just simply dishonest. You know, I was asking, as we talk about money down in Diego Martin, I kept asking y'all, first of all, I told y'all about this thing that Rowley and them want to build this flyover and interchange 500 million for what? For some people to go to a mall to save 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes because they just go by Mukurapo, hit the traffic light, come back around. 2.5 minutes, even if you're the slowest driver. What was the purpose and thing for that? And then I saw this design. You're coming on a highway kind of thing, where it's easy to just go the 100K, these 80K, whatever, the speed limit has changed all over. But you're accustomed to a straight flowing road. All of a sudden, when you reach by Westmall now, you have almost like a 90-degree turn to go wrong around, about tight. You understand? Tight like Al-Rawi Catwoman suit in the Toko Sangre Grande Sports. They have the PNM that bus. Tight angle. And I say, but what stupid design is this? What's the purpose of this thing? And you know, I didn't know. I couldn't figure it out. I really couldn't. Until I went to Westmall, to Hello Kitty store to buy a little something for my daughter because she's doing very good. And on the way out, we were driving. And I realized what it was, why they come with that roundabout design, because they could have also just left the traffic light, don't humbug nothing, and it was working. That don't cause no real traffic pile up at any time. And then I remembered there's supposed to be a school, a secondary school across there, across opposite Westmall. But the neighbors, the Westmoorings people didn't want no school. Government school. No, they didn't want that. And they got the #1 man, the #1 Oreo. No, they put a lovely park. Beautiful park. You could ride your bike, take your kids, run. The grass need to fix up and thing, but you could play football and thing. But they do that now to prevent any school. Then also to prevent school, because you might say, well, you could put the school there too. They come and they build a Diego Martin Regional Complex. I see Rowley open it for 45 million. So they protect Rowley's friend and them, Whoever want all your government school close to the area, keeping all of that in mind, are driving out of Westmall now, in between KFC and Superfarm, and on the left is Guardian Life building, and I turn right, and I heading towards we brand new roundabout, the tight roundabout now, the Al-Rawi Pants roundabout we call it. And you know what I noticed? No black fellas there to wipe your windscreen wiper. When there's a traffic light, they had become bustling with activity. Between 8 to 12, young black fellas who didn't want to do crime would do a little hustle, and they would wipe your windshield and ask you for $5 at whatever. You know what that whole design thing solved? No more black people there looking to hustle. That's who Rowley is. That's who Rowley. I couldn't figure out. I trying to find the logic of the thing. Some people down in Westmoreland who have Rowley airs in the golf course complain about them little black boys by the traffic light. And Rowley come with a whole design to eliminate the black boys from there and solve the problem. Problem solved because no car ain't stopping. Going around about. That is who you all elect. And as soon as the election bell ring, he remember he black. But he's the black and he too black and he this. And you all fall for that foolish imbecile called Rowley. Rowley opens 45 million Diego Martin complex. But no money to fix your drain. Remember he said, in Diego Martin, I had to pay to fix my own drain in Goodwood Park because the corporation did not even have money. They didn't have sand, they didn't have gravel. But they don't have sand and they don't have gravel, and it's a Diego Martin corporation with a Diego Martin Prime Minister, a Diego Martin MP, a Diego Martin Assistant Prime Minister, a Diego Martin clown called Nosebreaker. They have no sand and no resources to fix nothing because the PNM cabinet did not even allocate resources to the PNM corporation. But they have 45 million to build a spanking new administration complex for the corporation that the PNM starve of funds to do their work. And Rowley Lambase his own corporation. Here Rowley, some elected officials doing as they please, he says. What currently passes as local government is a sham, says Prime Minister Keith Rowley. The Prime Minister made the statement during the official opening of the Diego Martin Borough, they're quick to use our word, complex, right? He said one of the major obstacles is that some of the elected local government executives simply choose to do as they please. And this is because there is a certain level of interfacing between those individuals and the executive arm of the state. And in many instances, there is a lack of cooperation. So Rowley is basically saying that some corporations is UNC and they don't do anything and it's them problem. Rowley, Diego Martin Corporation is not UNC. You said Diego Martin Corporation it was. You had to spend money on your own drain to fix it because you would have lost your whole back wall. So what are you talking about, you dishonest, pathological liar? The whole problem in local government is that you are the Prime Minister who does not care for local government, who does not care about the people, who does not allocate resources for the people, for the corporations, for the councillors, for those in local government to do their jobs efficiently because you don't care. Because you want all the money in one pile for Noel Garcia to put in a bag. Simple. It's not Pythagoras theorem. It's not add maths. It's simple, Rowley. You are just a sick fellow. Now, I see an article talking about a project from a private developer in Chaguanas. And a community, it says in the Guardian newspaper, quick to print, a community built without approvals. A 3-phase, 2.4-acre development in Cunupio called Springfield Gardens is under investigation by fraud squad of the TNT police for alleged fraudulent documents approving its construction. According to the CBC and some residents of the development, the first two phases were constructed by developers without the necessary approvals from the CBC or the Town and Country Planning Division of the Ministry of Planning and Development. Right? So fraud squad, police investigating. Very good. Here's the problem. Let's flash back to Sunday, November 4, 2018. When somebody at editor, The Guardian, made an error and we never saw this story or heard another note about it, didn't get Vasant or Ramona or Botiwawi to write a column about it, the story just poof, disappeared. But the douglAR keeps it. I don't let things poof, disappear. Archie, could you put up the front page story of Sunday, November 4, 2018? HDC projects hit by approval woes, defects, mistakes, cost 2.4 billion dollars. I wonder who was in charge of the Ministry of Housing during that period. Keith Rowley, Noel Garcia. Put the next slide, let's read. All right, you're in the wrong order, but I will flow. You're in the right order? No, I don't know. All right, well, I go take it, I go flow with you. When I took, this is the next PNM minister coming in after Manning fire Rowley, right? This is Dick Ford. When I took over that ministry, we found the HDC found things were done in a very ad hoc manner. Dick Ford said the HDC did not have a tenders committee and was not using the central tenders board. So it was unclear how it was buying lands or selecting contractors. This is under Keith Christopher Rowley. She added, when I went in November 2007, the HDC was building without approvals. I got rid of the entire board, which included Al Rawi and Andre Montai. But you are telling me today that police are investigating fraud squad for a developer who developed without approval. That's fair enough. The law is the law. Go to another one, Archie, at one that looked like the first. Right. 2.4 billion between two of them. Go up and let me see. Right. Go to the next one. I'm looking for a main one because that was about Greenvale and so on. But remember, 2.4 billion. This is Dick Ford continuing. I was told that everything with housing would be shut down if I waited for approvals. And so we had to continue with some of the projects, she said. So she is also admitting that she continued after Rowley had started projects without approvals, which the Guardian is now reporting that the fraud squad and the TTPS are investigating a project in Kunupia. Next one. Because I'm waiting for the coup de grace. I like how you do it. Give me one more slide. The next one will have it. Right? Well, this one, no, it's plenty. The construction of the towers, remember the Edinburgh Towers, that scar on the face of Chaguanas as you go down there? The project was abandoned under Rowley after 11 years, and it incurred a massive 87.7 million in variation, and it was abandoned because of design flaws under Rowley, according to information received by Guardian Media. Guardian Media received all this information and then kill the story, you know. Next one, Archie, we going good, man. This is all Rowley. Noel Garcia, Faris Al-Rawi was also there. Nah, go, that you use that one already. Vishnu, send the main one where Rowley admitted. Keith Christopher Rowley said that, go up there and see if it is there. Keith Rowley said that he, as Minister of Housing, breached the law in order for expediency to move ahead with projects from yes, Archie. Ladies and gentlemen, all you share the live, you know, because this, I take my time to read this. This is Keith Christopher Rowley. Keith Christopher Rowley, the big Wajang bully Prime Minister. And police are saying in The Guardian now that the community was built without approvals. A three-phase, 2.4-acre development in Columbia called Springfield Gardens is under investigation by the fraud squad and the TNT police for alleged fraudulent documents approving construction and working and construction without approvals. Okay. On Friday, this is Sunday, 4th November 2018, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley confirmed that pressure to provide state housing to a growing market meant that the HDC was sometimes forced to bypass approvals and procedures to complete projects on time. Rowley served as Minister of Housing from November 2003 to November 2007, and during that time, 2 other projects were started and had to be stopped because of the lack of proper approvals. Keith Rowley tells The Guardian, I broke the law. My board broke the law. The ministry under my guidance and control broke the law because we were under pressure to build houses. Let's follow that logic. Let's follow that logic that you all out there find, well, if I had to go and rush to pick up my child, I could break a red light. If I need to buy my daughter a new tennis racket, I could rob sports and games. If I love sushi and I have no money, I could go and dine and dash because I'm forced to do so. So Rowley admits to breaking the law. We see nothing. No investigation, no fraud squad, no charges, nothing happening. But some development, private sector. See, the problem is that the law must be applied to all. Understand, Guardian? Why don't bring back that story? Wouldn't it have been a timely place to bring back? Because it was the Guardian on Sunday, 4th November 2018 that broke that front page story. And I ask you people, and I ask you, Norman Sabga III, where in the history of journalism have you ever heard about a newspaper breaking a story that a prime minister admitted to breaching and breaking the law on several projects during his tenure as a minister of cabinet minister and minister of housing, and then poof, the story just disappears. But one person who keep the story is the douglAR. It had disappeared. It right there. And now all of you people must share, and understand that you have a lawbreaker as a prime minister who justifies law breaking for expediency. That's an interesting concept, you know. No sign of sex crimes at the heliport. This story is so painful. I would just like to ask the police lady, Senior Superintendent Claire Guy-Alain. You said that you went down, all your officers went down by the heliport and saw no signs of rape, a rape that occurred months before. What are the signs of a rape that had occurred? Well, the screams that still echo weeks later, months later. The pain. What are the signs of a rape that you could sense in a building when everything normal? I just want to understand, because I am a logical human being. And when you say that, and then you start to attack the media for bringing out the story, is something wrong with you, lady? But the country is watching this investigation, because Coast Guard officers and all officers who are given great power must be held to a higher standard. And we are awaiting the investigation into the murder of Yaelbis Saravia, the 2-year-old baby, out on the open seas in Trinidad and Tobago's territorial waters, shot dead by Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard officers. Secrecy breeds distrust, says the Express. Monday, 5th June. Given the particulars of the case, talking about that case, we are puzzled by Superintendent Claire Guyalane's admonition of the media yesterday on the grounds that the police investigation could be set back when the media plastered those things on the front page. Perhaps she missed the part where the alleged victim's attorney said they had sought the court's protection on her behalf in order to prevent her being deported while the alleged crimes against her were being investigated. The fear of secrecy is not an unfounded one. Wow, Express. But every project, every negotiation, everything Keith Rowley has done for the last 8 years has been shrouded with secrecy. The cloak of secrecy has covered every single decision, whether it is Delcy landing during a COVID, whether it's negotiations in Houston, where Trinidad and Tobago's NGC made a loss for the first time and 11 companies shut down in Point Lisas, whether it was negotiations for Sinopharm vaccination, everything under the PNM is NDA, NDA, NDA. But all of a sudden, Express, when it's somebody else, not the PNM, you realize that the fear of secrecy is not an unfounded one, but it's been unfounded with the PNM for you in every matter. The Judah Jones report, what has happened to the children? Where the children? You have an unlicensed house moving from somewhere into Dago Martin, into the Boys Industrial, formerly Boys Industrial. With who? The same people? The same sickos? The same abusers? The same rapists? Who is the big, strong, curly head Rasta one? Where's the investigation? David Naked begging, where's the investigation into the Nelson Gate indemnity and Faris Al-Rawi? Where's the transparency? You come to attack. Yes, you're correct there, but you can't have selective moral positions. Army rifle missing. What video I wanted there, boy? I forget. Yeah, something there.
Oh, yes. Fighting with them in the house. If it means calling the police when you discover the gun under the mattress or in the wardrobe, call the police. You don't have to give it away, but tell the police to find it in the road. I'm sorry I say that.
Well, the Galil rifle, the automatic rifle, exactly as Fitzgerald at Talbot, body bag Hines stated, was just found in the bush by Macquarie. He told people, when you find the gun, just throw it in the bush, throw it on the side. Don't tell nobody who did it. Don't say, oh, sorry, I say that. The Minister of National Security of the PNM advised citizens, when you find lawbreakers with illegal guns that are killing people, just take the illegal gun and throw it on the side of the road. Children could pass, next criminal could pass, anybody could pick it. Call the police, but don't tell them who own it is. Well, whoever was involved with attempting to steal, well, stealing actually for a period, a Galil automatic killing machine weapon that could fire 35 bullets in 3 seconds. They took Fitzgerald at Talbot body bag Hines advice and they left it in the bush somewhere in Macquarie so they could retrieve it. $3.4 million for CARICOM crime talks. Rowley lied in the parliament when asked first time a month ago and said it was 1.5, ridiculing the honorable member for Napa Riemann, Rodney Charles, talking about Rodney Charles, say 15 million and 12 million. It's 3.4 million, all kind of 800,000 for banner and decoration. But it's very interesting. The UNC was saying this from beginning to end. The UNC was only invited for the opening ceremony. Every discussion, the United National Congress under Kamala Prasad, Bisesa, Munilal, Senator Mark, Jolene John, whoever spoke, David Lee, said that talk shop is a waste of time. We need action. Our people are dying. Here the Express. Talk done. What's the action? Express editorial Wednesday 7 June. When the government throws around money in the way it did, hosting the 2-day regional symposium on crime, it claims that it has no money to spend on urgent goods and services sounds hollow. By any measure, a price tag of $3.4 million for a 2-day event where guests are accommodating at the conference location itself is staggering. An expenditure of $1.3 million on set design, banners, signage, and media services, for example, needs more than disclosure. It requires details including the identity of contractors and above, evidence of a return on investment. The issue not simply about accountability for public expenditure on a conference, but about the government's commitment to getting value for money in the wise use of public funds. When has the PNM in 8 years under Rowley showed any care for accountability or value for money to people? For 233 NGC, flush. 210 NGC, flush. Mosquito crack, flush. 442 Red House, flush. 118 President's House, flush. 50 million in a health center administration office while you have no Panadol, flush. 131 million for Skinner Park to shrink the field, flush. Any project they did, flush. Total waste while Balize rises from the flush. The public is still waiting to hear exactly how the 2-day talk shop is being translated into any action plan for dealing with the crime as a public. What action plan? The UNC was telling you stupidity, and you all allow them to waste people money, waste people time, waste. Nothing could have come out of it. What do you think? We just saying that for saying it? Now all of a sudden, when people dead in all over the place, no impact whatsoever. A commissioner of police sipping tea and getting PNM to approve the contract year by year. You now come to say, tell us what happened in the conference, Rowley, when you sat there and ate scones and drank tea? Similar questions can be asked about last year's 3-day Agri-Investment Forum and Expo, which was said to have cost $8 million. But you newspapers, y'all were all over saying this thing. Oh my goodness, we get in agriculture, we go feed ourselves, sustainability, agricultural program, we will drop the food import from a thing in Napa with PNM taking picture. Y'all have relegated governance to a sideshow of PNM freaks. This citizen got it all right, Archie. Just, you only don't hear it from me, just hear from a citizen. Run it.
And Tobago. Watch. I want to see this. This is what happening all over this country. All over. All over. What are you talking about? Oh, that's a river? Yeah, this Cape Christopher. This is the whole road. Yeah. So all over the road, all over the country, infrastructure has gone to shit. Because as I said before, the PNM government has failed in every single ministry. Crime is just the most visual. That is the one that has affected us all. Because when they fail, when the economy contract, people had to eat, people lost their jobs. Over 250,000 people lost their jobs. Now all them industries closed because the PNM negotiating in such a way they don't care about preserving employment and making sure that money circulating in the economy. You know? If them can't have nobody not taking off. Watch how much money, as I say over and over, was taken out of this economy by the bad decisions of the PNM. And now, all of a sudden, we had to renovate more stadiums.
Exactly. I was having a conversation with 2 ladies in Superfarm. And they said, well, local government is a small election. I said, no, it's not a small election at all. And I told them what the plan is. And a country must have a plan. The local government election coming is a huge election for each and every citizen who's pained, who's frustrated, who understands that errors were made in the selection of Keith Christopher Rowley to lead anything. That he's the most evil, heartless, wicked bully ever to be put in power in Trinidad and Tobago, and he must be removed, and all of his tentacles and people that he has put into different institutions must be removed down to the ground into local government. A total overwhelming sweep of Keith Rowley and the PNM out of Sangre Grande, out of Arima, out of the Tunapuna Piarco Corporation, out of San Fernando and Point 14 will send a message to Keith Rowley that the people are totally fed up of him and waiting for an election, a general election. What will that do? That will force the incompetent idiot that Rowley is, who believes that the people are all of us are not intelligent, that he is the brightest human being in the world. His government will all of a sudden turn people-centered and start to deliver, pass bribes, build, fix roads, potholes, get water going, stop digging the roads, give out more food cards, give access, give out land, start to give out lots of things. And you, the people, the plan is take everything they give you. Because it's yours. It belongs to you. You earn it. You deserve it. They will try to bring back fuel subsidy. They will pause on the property tax. They will slow down on the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority. They will start to talk with humility, trying to fool you into changing your vote for the general election. Well, hear what you're doing. Take everything they give you. Say thank you. Anything and everything they offer, take it. Because it's owed to you. It's yours. It belongs to you. And when the general election comes, give them another shellacking that they will splinter into many different groups that will decimate the PNM for decades to come. That is a plan. It requires people. You are all fed up. You are sick and tired of the bullying, the incompetence, the corruption, the heartlessness. Local government election, I rechristen that election. Election is coming August 14. Vote UNC throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Get rid of Rowley and his entire cast of PNM incompetence. Send them a message. Send them a message that rocks them to the core. That we will never tolerate this sort of wickedness, corruption, malfeasance, and heartlessness again. Good night.
Now, several parts of northwest Trinidad are currently experiencing low water pressure or no supply at all in the taps.
No water here, everybody going to the pond. I tell you right now, the pond and all empty.
You're going down by the hydrant to say how to put in a request. You're putting in the request and it's still again in the water.